Welcome, race fans, and welcome to United Dirt Sim Series known as UDSS. We're here tonight in the historical Knoxville Speedway in the Kent Clausen's Tower, streaming live tonight with Pushin' the Cushion production. My name is Billy Idle, and I'll be your announcer for tonight's racing action. Tonight, we're with the 305 Gold Series, race number 6 of a 10-race series here at Knoxville. What the 305 Gold Series represents is all the drivers that are in this event must have a 2000 and above I rating. We don't care if it's an alphabet A, B, C, D license, but what we do care about is the I rating. So any driver that has over a 2000 I rating can get into this race and race tonight. There is a few people like Caleb Harmon, Alex Hanna, and many other few more drivers. I believe we have 3 or 4 drivers from the Silver Series. Those are the drivers that have under 2000 I rating, and what that really means is they're not the more experienced drivers. Not saying that they're not experienced enough race with the gold, but what UDSS has done is try to balance out the I rating as a field so everybody races to the level that they have their license to. So what we have to do with like Caleb Harmon and Alex Hanna and Alex Crum and a few others, these guys have come over and won in the Silver Series, and what UDSS has done is give the opportunity to those drivers that won in the top 3 positions in the A main as of last night every week can come over and run with the Gold Series drivers. So that makes it exciting, so it matches them up. But what all this really does with the I rating and over 2000 means that we have some experienced drivers, and there's going to be some great racing here at Knoxville tonight. We're going to be start qualifying here in 5 minutes. The drivers right now are out there on the track just practicing, getting some lap times, trying to get their cars dialed in for tonight, and see what kind of lap times they're gonna put down. Right now in the practice session, I guess you would probably say a more of a practice session with Kozak and Hansen and Brickley and Shreves and Kerstetter, Detweiler. The 305s, we've had about 38 drivers in the 6-race series. Not as much as we planned, but really in general, a lot of the drivers that have the higher license and I rating, they don't race the 305s a lot because they like the 410s and the 360s. But what's exciting is that the 305 is an open setup, where versus the 305 in the silver setup is actually a fixed setup. So what these drivers, since they are the more advanced and experienced drivers, they are allowed to get inside their race car and tune it and do what they want with it to free it up, because the 305 doesn't have as much power as the 360s or the 410. So now it comes down to more setup and the drivers driving their car with the setup they have. Sometimes they don't put on the right setup and it doesn't work, and sometimes they do. But coming to Knoxville is just a very fast track. It's you can run the high side and the low side here at Knoxville, and all these drivers here really enjoy it a lot. It's kind of like a half-mile. It's a half-mile oval with like a black Zuka clay. Basically, when it's moist and wet and got traction, it's like basically running a slot car on a slot car track. It's pretty much dialed in. The bottom works in for qualifying. If you don't qualify well, that means you start farther back in the heat race. And when you start farther back in the heat race with a lot of talent, it makes it difficult to move up. So what these drivers are going to do during qualifying here in about 3 minutes is they're going to probably get on the bottom, get their best time possible, because that'll be the fastest way around the track at qualifying. And then during the heats and the mains, they'll work the bottom. The bottom will go away a little bit. They'll start moving up to the top, moving up to the cushion, moving up to the wall. And then before you know it, the bottom will come in by the main event, and there'll be some great passing, some great slide jobs in 1 and 2, 3 and 4. That's one thing about Knoxville is you could put the slider in 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 3 and 4 dries out a little bit. We don't know if it's because of the weather or because of the sun, but definitely 1 and 2 has a good slide job throughout the evening for tonight's racing. You know, you've had some fantastic racers come to this facility. You got some of the best drivers in the world in sim racing, like Billy Rowley, which he was here last race at USA International, and he did end up winning with Billy Brickley getting in the second spot. You have Alex Bergeron that's been on this track. You've had Hayden Cardwell, Blake Cannon, James Edens, Tyler Shell. You've had so much talent that's raced on this track in sim racing. You've had the world's best. So This is a very known track to have some of the best drivers come and participate. So hoping that we're going to put a great show on for you viewers, and we're going to get into some qualifying here. We're going to talk more about some points. We're going to talk about some drivers, try to get an interview with a few. So we got about a minute and 40 seconds before qualifying starts. So I'd like everybody to please take off your hat. I'm going to do the national anthem, and we'll get right into qualifying and get on the leaderboard.
Two-time Grammy and three-time Academy of Country Music Award winner LeAnn Rimes in the performance of our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed as the twilight's last gleaming, who brought stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight. Oh, the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets ringing, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that a flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
Welcome back to Knoxville Speedway, and this is Billy Idle here. Tonight we're going to get in the race format, and we're going to get into some heat races. The heat races are 8 laps. They usually take the top 4 to the transfer spot, and then we'll get into, most likely, we're not going to have a B main or C main. We'll have a straight up A main event. But the qualifying has started right now, and you got the buckshot Billy Brickley up on top with a 17.431. Darren Detweiler in that second spot with a 17.481. Brian Kozak with a 17.520. In the 4th spot, Dustin Shreves with a 17.523. Brandon Kerstetter with a 17.539. Randy Shreves sitting in the 6th spot with a 17.599. And Jake Greenwood with a 17.610 in the 7th. Caleb Harmon in the 8th spot with a 17.670. And Brandon Igo with a, let's see where he went. He just disappeared. 17.706. And we have about 6 or 7 other drivers that have not qualified, but they should be getting the qualifying done. We're going to start here in about a minute and 35 seconds, our first heat. And we're going to get into some exciting racing. No matter if there's 15 cars or 30 cars, it's always exciting here with United Dirt Sim Series. But we'd like to thank our sponsors, because without our sponsors, it wouldn't be possible for us to stream or have the software or the trophies or plaques that we may be giving out at the end of the 10-race season. We'd like to thank Design Metal Art, Jessup Logistics, Sofa King Fast Sim Sports, Pushin' the Cushion Production, Speed World Hobbies, Works Graphics, and we're still waiting for our logo for Go Yet Trucking. That's Anthony Goyette. He'll be racing tonight. He's one of our sponsors that just stepped on board with us to help us out through the year, and we'd like to thank you very much, Anthony. So we're still waiting for 4 or 5 cars to qualify. There's only about 44 seconds left. We're going to get in a heat race, but we're looking at our point series right now. You got the Buckshot, who had a bounty on him last night in the 410s. If any of you viewers weren't watching, there was a bounty on Billy Brickley last night in the 410s, and Mr. Shell ended up coming out and winning the bounty and beating him and taking home $20. And that was exciting. That was probably a great happy ending for him at the end of the night of racing. That was Tyler Shell, a pro driver, came over. We had 3 pros show up last night with the 410s here with United Dirt Sim Series, the Jessup Logistics 410 Series. Billy Raleigh came out, and he ended up winning a race. But you got the Buckshot up on top. You got Randy Shreves in that 2nd spot. The only separation is about 13 points in 1st and 2nd. Darren Detweiler moved up a big amount of steps in that 3rd spot with 342. He's sitting back about 39 spots from the leader, Billy Buckshot. Jake Greenwood in the 4th spot. Brian Kozak in the 5th. And Dustin Shreves in the 6th. Alex Hanna 7th. Hunter Crum in 8th. Hayden Spike Harvey in the 9th, and Kelby Taylor in the 10th, followed by Caleb Harmon, Jeffrey Stewart in the top 12 with Mark Jessup in the 13. So we're going to have, most of these drivers are here tonight. There's a few that didn't show up, but we're going to get into our first heat race here. It's going to be 8 laps, and we're going to start that in about a minute and 20 seconds. And we're going to start racing here at the historical Knoxville Speedway. So what we're going to do here is going to start heat number 1, 8 laps, no yellows, top 4, transfer to the A main final. In the front row on the inside, number 56. You always see him on the front row. He's always there, Randy Shreves. In the 2nd spot in the 04, Dustin Shreves, his brother obviously, in row number 1. In the 2nd row, in the number 97, a good teammate of mine and friend of mine, Mr. Alex Hanna, and the Buckshot himself in the 4th spot, in a double out with that wonderful spiky-looking hair, Billy the Buckshot Brickley. In the 3rd spot, number 19, inside in the 5th spot, Hayden Harvey, and the 6th spot, number 45, Brandon Igo. In the 8th spot, inside of row 4, number 29, Anthony Goyette from Goyette Trucking, and in the 9th spot, number 9, Matthew Johnson, 22. That means there's 22 Matthew Johnsons on iRacing. So we're going to get here into our first heat. We're going to be going one more lap. The pace truck's going to come off. It looks like 4 cars. So most likely the way they're going to do this, they could be taking the top 2. I would believe, top 5 cars, 6 cars. A couple of drivers didn't make the start, like Brandon and Anthony and Matthew. So obviously they are going to take 4 cars. 3 of them just did not make the grid. So the pace truck is going to come around turn 4, and most likely he's going to go in the infield, and they're going to be on green flag, not on the in pole sitter. So when the flag drops, they're going down green. Coming down the front straightaway, Randy Shreves gets a good jump. Dustin Shreves right behind him. Dustin tucks right behind his brother. Alex Hanna drops to the bottom while Billy, the buckshot, goes to the top, and Harvey follows close behind on the bottom and staying in the middle. Here they come around for the first lap. It's Randy Shreves followed by Dustin Shreves. Alex Hanna and the buckshot taking over that third spot. Hanna in the fourth spot. Harvey in the fifth spot. Pretty much a freight train single file, but here comes the buckshot on the inside, trying to get underneath Dustin on the infield, putting it on that berm, putting his left front wheel on that berm, and coming down, staying in the moisture. These 305s don't have a lot of horsepower, so you got to keep them as straight as possible. But the buckshot now is working on Shreves on the inside, going down the back straightaway. Randy Shreves has stretched out about a car length lead. There goes the Buckley, blinking, playing possum, playing hide and go seek right now with Dustin. Dustin probably didn't see him for a quick second, and the buckshot gets underneath him and takes over the second spot on the bottom. Now the buckshot is going to start working on Randy Shreves, your leader. There's only about 5 laps to go. Remember, the farther you finish, the higher you finish, the closer you go to the front row. The buckshot hits Shreves in the side. They both just racing contact. Now the buckshot goes on the inside, slides up a little bit, but gives Randy Shreves some room to stay on the outside to keep side by side with him going into 3. Dustin Shreves on the bottom, trying to get behind his brother, coming up, almost clips the right rear of his car just to get in the moisture, but it kind of slid him up a little bit. So now the buckshot is starting to pull away. Dustin's behind Randy. Is he going to do a slide job in 3? We're going to watch it now. They're going to stay on the bottom. The moisture's there. The drivers know that it's there, so it's going to stick around until the main event, and then they're going to go to the high side. 3 laps to go. First heat tonight here at the historical Knoxville Speedway. So the buckshot now is pulled out about a 0.8 tenths of a second lap on Randy Shreves. Dustin Shreves still holding right behind him, realizing the top 4 cars are going to make the transfer. Alex Hanna's fallen back off the pace. Alex won the A main event last night in the silver class. So this is one racer with a lot of talent that has under 2,000 I rating that's racing with the big boys, you want to call it. That kid is fast, and he's a great kid. Love to have him as a teammate. He's helped me out a ton also, along with the buckshot up front. Buckshot stretched it out. That's the checkered flag, and it's the buckshot with the win. Randy Shreves in second, Dustin Shreves in third, and Alex Hanna in the 4th spot. We're going to be going to race number 2, heat race, 8 laps, no cautions. We're going to start our heat grid in the front row inside. Number 43, one of my been favorites since the first race. Had some bad luck at first, but we got him kind of rolling, and it's nice to see him up there. Jake Greenwood in the 43. Outside of the front row, Brandon Kerstetter, number 922. In the second row, 3rd spot, number 24, Brian Kozak. In the 4th spot on the outside, in the old-fashioned historical paint job, red and black, number 3, Darren Detweiler. Beautiful paint job, old school paint job. In the 3rd row inside, in the 5th spot, number 11, Caleb Harmon. And in the 6th spot, number 15, Jay Place. And in the 4th row, all by himself in the number 13, in the 8th position, Hayden Berlin. That's your lineup for heat race number 2, 8 laps, top 4 cars transfer to the A main final. Darren Detweiler at the USA International at the last race, he finished in that 3rd spot. So he in the 3rd spot in the final main event. So he's coming off a really nice position, podium position at USA International, and on his drive loading up his race car to come here to Knoxville. But the pace truck's going to come off the truck. Remember, it's on the green flag. It's not on the pole setter. Little slow start right now. Here they come. The green flag comes out. It's Greenwood and Kerstetter in the front row. Kerstetter kind of stretches up a little bit. Greenwood had a little bit slow start. Kerstetter comes out following him closely by Brian Kozak, follows him. Greenwood drops a 3 spot, but he's on the inside of Kozak right now, coming out of turn number 4. Looks like Kozak's going to have a run on him, coming on the outside, had a little bit of moisture up there. Greenwood had to lift a little bit. He got off the berm and it put him back into that 3rd spot. But it's Kerstetter, Detweiler, Greenwood, Kozak, and Harmon after the race, after lap number 2. Here they come down the front straightaway across the flag stand, and it's Kerstetter, Detweiler, Greenwood, Kozak in that 4th transfer spot, Caleb Harmon in the 5th spot, Jay Place in the 6th, and Aiden Berlin in the 7th, which I believe Jay and Berlin did not make the show. So right now it's all up to Caleb Harmon to kind of stretch in and kind of reel in Brian Kozak and trying to bring that big fish in so he could actually make the transfer. But it's still Kerstetter, Detweiler, and Greenwood in the running order 1, 2, 3. Detweiler still a little bit wide. That's going to give Detweiler an inside move on Kerstetter. Detweiler shoots to the bottom in turn 1, comes out, gives him some room, doesn't drift up too high to put him up near the wall, gave him some room. Kerstetter still on the lead. Detweiler trying to work the inside. Here comes Greenwood working the lower line, coming out of turn 4, down across the stripes, and it looks like Detweiler got that one. Kerstetter in the 2nd, Greenwood 3rd, followed by Brian Kozak in the 4th spot. 3 laps to go for heat race number 2. Greenwood now trying to get around Kerstetter. Detweiler got the lead. Here they come side by side across the stripes going into turn 1. Greenwood on the bottom. Kerstetter a little bit high. Oh, and they touch coming off turn number 2. Kerstetter and Greenwood right now. Greenwood stays on the bottom. 2 laps to go. One more white flag after this one. Detweiler, Greenwood, Kerstetter, and closely Brian Kozak in that 4 spot, just waiting for a mix or a little kind of incident so he can get by him. The higher you finish, the higher the front rows in the main event you get. But it looks like here goes Darren Detweiler to the checkered flag. Greenwood in 2nd, Kerstetter in the 3rd spot, Brian Kozak in the 4th, and looks like Caleb Harmon will go to the B if we have one. But the way it looks, he'll probably just go to the end of the line in the A main event. Great race in action already with the moisture on the bottom. Again, 305s don't have a whole lot of power. Not saying that they're slow, but they don't have a lot of power like the 360s and the 410s. The 410s, 360s rip up the track on the bottom because these drivers know that's the fastest way around. So what they're going to do is get to the bottom and use it till that gets a little loose, because you don't want the 305 to get a little loose. These guys probably have their wings up, belts tightened down tight, and they know that if they get sideways, they lose a lot of momentum. And when I say a lot of momentum, you can lose up to 2-3 car lengths just on one straightaway by itself. So right now, we've already got into the warm-up session for the main event. They got 1 minute and 9 seconds to warm up, so these guys are already making changes for the main event. And we're going to go into our, I guess you'd say, our A final feature. There's not going to be a B or C, so it looks like it should be about 30 laps. Caution flags will be on. On the initial start, it will be on the flagman, and I think it's who's flagging tonight. It looks like Dave White Flag will be flagging tonight. So White Flag is up on the flag stand. I'm with Push in the Cushion, and we're up here in the Clausen Towers, a beautiful race facility right next to the National Sprint Car Museum. Great facility. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, you got Jessup Logistics, one of our sponsors. Their business is on the back straightaway of Knoxville Speedway. That's where their business is located, here behind the backs of Knoxville. Design Metal Arts, I believe, is right down the street from them. And then you have a Sofa King Fast Sim Sports, which is a racing team that Billy Brickley, Andrew Hansen, Alex Hanna, I believe Randy Shreves is part of. So there's a couple team drivers that are here. And you have Speed World Hobbies, one of our sponsors. You got Works Graphics, which Dave Ward paints some terrific cars. He's painted the Buckshot. He's painted Alex Hanna. He's Andrew Hansen. So he's painted a lot of cars out here in the sim racing and the sprint car world. So it's always nice to have a painter that helps you out and knows racing graphics, so your cars look sharp and fast. And then you have Goyette Trunking, which we're still waiting for his logo to be on board. So we're excited for all our sponsors. We're excited to be here at Knoxville Speedway. The cars are lining up for the A-Main feature right now. And we're going to start with the front row. The gentleman that's leading the point series right now by about 15 points, the double-aught Billy the Buckshot Brickley. Starting in the second row, number 3, which is a co-host announcer for UDSS, Darren Detweiler. In the second row, number 56, Randy Shreves. In the fourth spot, number 43, Jake Greenwood. In the third row, in the fifth spot, number 04, Dustin Shreves. And the sixth spot outside of row 3, number 922, Brandon Kerstetter. In the fourth row on the inside, a main event winner from the Silver Series last night, number 97, the Kids of Rocket, Alex Hanna. And on the eighth spot in the fourth row outside, Mr. Brian Kozak, number 24. In the fifth row, number 19, you got Hayden Spike Harvey. And in the 10th spot, another fast cat, number 11, Caleb Harmon. In the sixth row in the 11th spot, number 45, Brandon Igo. And in the 12th spot, 6th row outside, number 15, Jay Place. In the 15th spot, number 29, Anthony Goyette. It doesn't look like he made the grid. And Aiden Berlin in the 16th spot, number 13. And all by himself in the number 9, in the 17th spot, Matthew Johnson. So remember, all restarts will be on the pole sitter. The initial start will be on our flagman, Dave White Flag. He will actually lead them down to an initial start. And hopefully that we go straight green. Great exciting racing. The 360s are next. I guarantee 40 to 60 cars. So race fans, viewers, stick around, come back and come to Pushing the Cushion and watch that race. But here's the start. First lap, green flag. The Buckshot gets a good start. Detweiler on the outside, Randy Shreves on the inside. The Buckshot gets about a half car lane with Greenwood on the outside and number 43. The Buckshot with the UDSS up on his wing, drifts up a little high. That's going to let Detweiler get on the inside and have the inside move. We don't know if that was planned or not, but the Buckshot is going to come back and do a little crossover on the inside, coming out of turn number 2 and get back underneath Detweiler going into 3. It's now Greenwood still sitting out up there on top. Randy Shreves sitting on the outside. Alex Hanna starting to make his move up into the A spot right now. But it's Brickley and Detweiler moving into the 1-2 position while Greenwood's right behind him, right on Detweiler's tail. You got Randy Shreves in that 4th spot with another UDS logo on his wing, followed by Brian Kozak in the 5th, Dustin Shreves in the 6th. But the battle's up front going into 1. The Buckshot on the inside, Detweiler on the outside. The Buckshot stays low, gives him a little bit of room on the outside so it doesn't push him up into the wall. Now it's Brickley now on the inside, comes up a little bit on Detweiler, touches wheels, slows him down. Here comes Jake Greenwood now and Randy Shreves. Now it's Greenwood taking over the second spot under Detweiler. Detweiler trying to make a move under the Buckshot. 3 abreast, and all you drivers and all you race fans always love 3 abreast. Now here they come. They're starting to bunch up. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Oh, got a little battle right now in the backfield. Looks like some contact. Maybe someone in the wall, but we got 3 breasts side by side for the last half a lap. It's the Buckshot in the center. It's now Greenwood on the inside of the Buckshot. Detweiler on the outside. These guys are fabulous racing, not even touching. 3, 4. Randy Shreves looking on the outside, looking in. If there's a mistake, he's going to capitalize it on 2. The Detweiler makes an undermove, gets the back bumper of Brickley, gets him loose a little bit, takes over the lead into 3. The Buckshot trying to get back underneath, get in some moisture, tucks his car down, makes a nice cut, touches the left rear wheel of Detweiler, gets him loose. Here comes Shreves on the outside, following Detweiler, coming out of turn 2. Wow, is this exciting? You know me, I get excited about this stuff. This is some close battle racing right now. Randy Shreves still in that 4th spot right now, just on the back of Greenwood right now. Close battle. You could throw the blanket that Grandma made, a quilted blanket for her porn star daughter over these 4 guys. We love to see that. Here they come now. Detweiler, Greenwood, Brickley, and Shreves. Top 4 Brickley on the inside, comes up on Detweiler, touches him again on the rear wheel. Great racing contact. Oh, Randy Shreves gets in the back of Brickley. We got a battle, but here comes the 5th spot of Brian Kozak coming out of nowheres into the 4th spot, trying to look underneath Greenwood and Brickley right now, going into turn 3. Oh, the buckshot goes up high, touches Detweiler. Detweiler has no part of it. Says, you're not going to move me out of the way, buckshot. You don't scare me. Here comes Detweiler on the outside, Greenwood on the inside, buckshot in the 3rd spot. In the 4th spot is Brian Kozak. In the 5th spot, Randy Shreves. This is 11 laps down, 29 more laps to go, no yellow flags. This is going to go green to the finish. I have a strong feeling. The bottom is starting to come in. It's still now Greenwood on the bottom. Here comes Detweiler on the outside. The buckshot is now gets in the middle of these two, finding out what he can do. His car's a little loose right now, starting to drift up out of turn 4. Still in the 3rd spot, Kozak in that 4th spot. What are these drivers thinking? Who's going to do the first slide job? All you race fans and viewers, who do you think's going to do the first slide job? I'd keep your eye on the double odd of the buckshot because he's in that 3rd spot. As soon as these guys get single file, he's going to look for that. But here comes Kozak now, right on the tail of Brickley right now. If Brickley farts, Kozak's going to smell it. He's so close. And now it's still Greenwood, Detweiler, Brickley, Kozak, and Shreves in a single file running order coming down the front straightaway. The buckshot gives a slide job to Detweiler. Detweiler cuts back underneath in the turn 2 coming out. Now Detweiler got the inside. The buckshot is up on the outside. Here comes Kozak in that 4th spot. Shreves right behind buckshot staying the high side. The buckshot is staying low. He thinks that's where his car is going to work. He drifts up, does a little slide job on Detweiler. Detweiler closes up now, gets on the back of his button. That's going to let Greenwood stretch it out about 3 car lengths right now. And now he's starting to stretch out the lead with 16 laps down, 23 to 24 to go. Now Greenwood's looking back there saying, okay, I got to hit my marks. I got to get around this track the fastest way because the buckshot, Detweiler, Kozak, Shreves, they're starting to battle it out. That's going to give Greenwood a little bit of room, a little bit of comfort. But don't count the buckshot out because he's a crafty little critter. The buckshot now sliding up, going in low, sliding up, going into 2. Let's see if he does it in a 3. Is he going to go to the bottom and slide back up, coming out of 4? Yes, he does. That's the fastest way here at Knoxville right now for these 305s. So now the buckshot is working the slide job. Here he comes. Greenwood stays on the bottom. Look at Billy Brickley. He's starting to get on the bottom. He's starting to do that little slide job. He's going to go in low and he's going to come out high. Watch it. Here it comes. There it is. He's like a textbook. He knows what he's doing. He's reeling in Greenwood. He's only 0.4 of a second behind him. Here he comes on a low slide job coming out of 2. He's going to stay tight. He's going to let Greenwood say, I have you, buddy. You see me? Look at me now. Let's see what's going to happen. Greenwood ain't worried about it. Greenwood's been my pick all year. He's going to keep his poise. He's going to keep the buckshot behind him. He's raced with the buckshot many times. But now the battle is Randy Shreves and Kozak and Kerstetter in the 3rd, 4th, and 5th right back there. Let's see if we can go back a little bit and see Randy Shreves. I hate to leave the buckshot, but I think it's going to take him another 2 laps to get around him. There's Detweiler, Shreves, and Kozak in the 3rd, 4th, and 5th spot right there going into turn 1. That's car number 3, Detweiler, 56, Randy Shreves, 24, Brian Kozak. Brandon Kerstetter in that 6th spot. But the buckshot now is getting right on the back bumper of Greenwood. Let's see if he's going to make a move here shortly in the next lap or 2 because he's starting to reel him in just a little bit. But Greenwood now must have seen something. He's following what the buckshot is doing into 1, 2, 3, and 4. He's going to go in low. They're going to drift up where the moisture's at, and they're going to get a run off the corner, and that's going to keep that distance right now with the buckshot right behind him. With Greenwood staying on the bottom, I think the buckshot's going to run him down. Buckshot turns it in now in the middle. He doesn't let the car drift up. They're starting to pull away from the field of Detweiler, Shreves, and Kozak right now. But the Greenwood is holding on to about a 0.7 second lead right now. That's about 3.5 car lengths. The buckshot's going to the high side. The first time you've seen him go to the high side right now. Greenwood stays up high, comes in a little bit lower, but now the Buckshot is working the high side in 1 and 2. Now he's working the high side in 3 and 4. So the Buckshot's always thinking, trying to get up and trying to get a edge on the competition. But Greenwood's having no part of it, saying, I'm just running my line. The battle still is Detweiler, Shreves, and Kozak, and here comes Kerstetter now on the back of the 4th, 5th, and 6th spot. Let's see if we can go back again to the 4th, 5th, and 6th spot and see if we can get some racing action. I still think the Buckshot's going to take another lap or two. He's got plenty of time. There's still 14 laps to go, so the Buckshot's going to have a little time. Here's the battle now for the 3rd, 4th, and 5th spot. It's 24. Kozak goes almost in underneath Detweiler, gets it underneath, coming across the stripe. It's going to be Detweiler, Kozak, Shreves, and Kozak. The battle right there is for 4th and 5th going on. It's Detweiler stretched out in the 3rd, about 3 car lengths. Kozak gets underneath, pushes Randy Shreves up a little bit of contact. That's racing, that's dirt racing, that's sprint car racing at its best. So now Kozak gets under Shreves, throws a slide job on him. Shreves has to slow down a little bit, tries to cut underneath to go back underneath him, going into 3. Now Shreves is going to slide up to Kozak. Oh, and gets it collected into his front end. Not intentional, just barely a slide job that a little bit went wrong, but not enough. He could have lifted and gave him the room to get that and did a crossover, but he didn't. Again, not blaming whose fault it was. It just said, you got to think when you're in a sprint car because things are happening so quick. So now we're going to go back up to the front right now and see Greenwood and the Buckshot. What's going on? And there goes the Buckshot right underneath. Perfect time to put the cameras back on the leader. The Buckshot's reeled him in. Greenwood kind of kept him down, pushed him down a little bit. Greenwood goes up. The Buckshot trying to get a run off. Doesn't get enough run. He had to pinch his car because of the horsepower. The 305s, like I said earlier, don't have a lot of power. Greenwood does a slide job, goes up. Brickley now going to get right behind him. Lost about 2.5 car lengths from getting low and staying tight and trying to cut in tight to keep the moisture. It slowed him down. 9 laps to go before the checkered flag. It's Greenwood now pretty much commanding in his lead since about the 4th lap. The Buckshot's going to work him hard, staying low on the inside. The Buckshot is not done yet. He's got every trick in his sleeve. Right now he's probably just looking at the monitor and seeing where the guys are behind him. He's just kind of cruising around, trying to think about it, letting Greenwood think, what am I going to do? Is the Buckshot going to make a move with about 3 laps to go? 7 laps to the finish. It's Greenwood, Brickley, and Detweiler in the top 3 positions. I hate to leave this because this is for the battle for the win with 6 laps to go. The Buckshot on the bottom. Greenwood now keeping that line tight. Kind of drifts up a little bit. Nope, he's going to hold it tight. His car pushed a little bit. The Buckshot went to the outside to try to get a run. It's not having anything of it right now. Near Greenwood realizes that he's going to have to keep the Buckshot behind him, and he's going to have to keep him down and don't let him have the inside because the Buckshot will do a slide job, and I think Greenwood's raced with Billy Brickley enough to know that. 5 laps left to the checkered 4.5. Greenwood, Brickley, and Detweiler. What a race right now. Straight green, 40 laps. The Buckshot is hot on its tail right now. He does a little blinker. He disappears a little bit. What's he going to do? 4 laps to go for you race fans and viewers. The Greenwood staying on the bottom, drifts up a little bit. He knows he can do that because the Buckshot's not going to cut down underneath. It takes too much power for these little 305s to do that. He doesn't want to afford to lose another car length or 2. The Buckshot does a slider, cuts it back down under Greenwood, gets a run, pulls up a car length on Greenwood. You got 3 laps, 2.5 laps to go. Oh, the Buckshot gets a little sideways. I think that's going to hurt him. Greenwood stays high on the outside. The Buckshot loses a little ground. Again, the Buckshot's not done yet. Greenwood driving a masterpiece of a race. The number 43 of Jake Greenwood. Here comes the Buckshot. The Buckshot just gained a little bit of ground. Greenwood's holding on to it, keeping a nice tight line where the moisture at. The Buckshot putting his left front wheel on the berm to hold it tight. 2 laps to go. I believe this could be the white flag. And the Greenwood gets a little bit loose. The Buckshot's going to the outside, coming down the back straightaway. Could this be the final lap and checkered flag for Jake Greenwood? Greenwood's holds it tight, making the Buckshot, gets a run on the outside. Coming down for the checkered flag, it's Jake Greenwood. Billy Brickley 2nd, Darren Detweiler 3rd, Randy Shreves 4th, Brandon Kerstetter 5th, Alex Hanna 6th, Caleb Harmon 7th, Hayden Spike Harvey 7th, or 8th, I apologize, was a race. Look at the Buckshot giving a little love to Jake Greenwood, giving him some love, giving him a little side job, saying that was a run. What a race. Greenwood, Brickley, Detweiler, race fans, stick around. We're going to interview these drivers. Don't forget the 360s. We should have at least 48 to 60 cars. That's coming up at 10 o'clock Eastern, 7 o'clock Pacific, 9 o'clock Central. Stick around. Come back in the Push and the Cushion productions, and we'll go live there probably in about 15 or 20 minutes. What a race. Unbelievable. Let's see if I can get one of these spectators up here in the tower that been sitting inside Clausen Tower with me. Maybe I can get her to run down to the microphone to the drivers. So let's get this thing going. Hey, she's a little speedster. She's already down at the bottom. The flagman's going to help her cross the track, or one of the helpers. I'm sorry, the flagman's on the opposite side, and we're going to get into our broadcasting booth. There's the young lady. She's getting jumped. She's actually leaping over that fence to get over there and give our third place finisher. That would be our, let's see, Darren Detweiler. Okay, she's got the mic in there. Darren, do you have the mic on?
Yeah, I hear you loud and clear.
Oh, man, what a race. You did a fabulous job holding on to that lead with the Buckshot behind you, with Greenwood. You had Randy Shreves, Kerstetter. They were all hot on your tail. What were you feeling? I mean, how was the car when you were out in front? What was the fear, if there was any fear of how you were going to get past? Did you feel the pressure, or were you just really, was the car working good and it was just up to making a mistake?
Oh, I could definitely feel the pressure. I mean, anytime you got Brickley right behind you, you know it. And I actually felt really bad a couple times. He and I got together, and I think it was my fault. I lost the rear end of the car a little bit on the exit. And, unfortunately, I forgot to turn my my driver chat back on, so I couldn't even apologize when it happened. But yeah, I was well aware of where he was at the whole time, and I was trying not to give him too much room, but at the same time, I didn't want to run into him.
Yeah, you had some really great crossovers, and you were staying high a little bit more than you were at the bottom, but your car seemed like it cut through the corner real nicely, coming out of two on the back straightaway. If he got Greenwood or Brickley got underneath you, you were able to make up some time and cut back underneath, and they gave you enough room on the outside. It didn't seem like anybody was pinching anybody off in the wall. But you didn't really try a lot of sliding into one or sliding into three, sliding up. You kind of stayed in the high groove a little bit where your car worked. And when you tried the bottom, did it feel like it wanted to stay there, or was it just getting too loose?
It was one of those things. The car wasn't really getting loose. I just wasn't getting a whole lot of drive out of the rear end. So I finally just settled to run the cushion and hope for the best. I know there was a couple times that it got pretty close with me, and I think it was Randy Shreves that got inside me once. I know Kosak got inside me at one point. Uh, but just the car was working a little better on the top than it did on the bottom, at least for me. So I was happy with how it turned out, though.
Well, we went 40 laps all green. I mean, there was five, I think six of you, basically five of you, that were all together. It was a little nerve-wracking. I was, me, I get excited and call the races, but man, having five or six of you guys, basically half a car length away from each other, it got a little nerve-wracking. So at one time you guys were three wide for almost two laps, and being in the middle or on the outside, you had to keep your line because you knew if you made a mistake, you guys could have probably wiped each other out and got out of the race. So, did you feel a lot of pressure when you were in the middle of those two? Did you feel like you had to hold your line, but was your car working enough where you were holding it, or were you kind of backing off the throttle a little bit just to stay neutral in the middle?
I was actually able to stay hammered down through the middle. I was just hoping for the best when I would drive it into the corner. And the good thing was at that point in the race, I was getting great drive out of the right rear. So when I would drive down into the corner, it didn't matter too much what the left rear was doing on the slick. I still had good drive through the corner, and it was sticking in place. So that was kind of nice, being able to trust what the car was going to do all the way through the corner. You can't ask for a whole lot more.
Well, this is going to move you up in the points. I'm sure you're third place in points. You finished third place at USA last week. This is going to put you in third place again, so that's a very consistent run. Is there anybody that you would like to thank, or your sponsors, or anybody personal that you'd like to thank for getting you out on the racetrack tonight?
Yeah, I definitely got to thank my dad over at Design Metal Art. If you're ever in Knoxville, make sure to stop outside the backstretch and check out Design Metal Art. Got to thank Jessup Logistics, Works Graphics, and Most Wanted Motorsports.
Well, I'll tell you what, it was a great run. Always nice to see you, nice to watch you race. You actually help us announce some of our 305 and a few other races. It's nice having you. Even though we're not on the same race team, we're still on a team together, and you do a fantastic job of announcing and racing and just helping us out. So thank you very much. Have a great night and go celebrate with the team.
Thanks a lot, Billy. Catch you later.
See you, brother. All right, we're going to go to our second place finisher. It's the second night in the row that he finished up in the top 3 spots. Hey, Billy, you got the mic on?
I gotcha.
Dude, how you feeling? What a run from Greenwood, but where weren't you able to make up the ground, because Greenwood really, Jake ran a terrific race, because I know you were going to throw the sink at him, and it just couldn't get that little half a car length edge to do that. How was the car working tonight for you, though?
Car was good. Track wasn't how I would have liked it to be, but that's racing. You got to race the track. So, yeah, it just wasn't real passy. I could get to Jake, every couple of laps, and then you try to make a pass and just wasn't there. You fall back and you have to come back up and do it again, and it just wasn't working out. But it is what it is. I had a race with Darren there, and we were beating and banging on each other and let Jake get by, so that kind of sucked. But I don't know. I think we had a car to win, but it wasn't meant to be tonight. We'll take a second place. So I've got a third, a second, and hopefully a first next year in the 360s. We'll finish it out pretty good, I think.
Yeah, and I think didn't you win? Didn't you win USA International last week?
Yeah,
Yeah.
This will be my second loss in the 305.
Yeah, this is like this will be your 4 out of 6 wins. That's not bad. But I watched you do your slide jobs, and I watched the car stay on the bottom. I watched you go inside low, come out high. I mean, you really ran as best as you could run. And when you did cut it when you did cut down coming off turn 4, it looked like the car, I would say, bog a little bit. Did you feel the same thing that we were watching when you kept trying to you'd move up on Greenwood, and then you come off the corner and it seemed like it bogged? Did it bog a little bit? Was there too much traction there?
No, I was just trying to find something to make a move on them. Like I said, track just wasn't quite wore in enough yet, but that's just the way it is. It's racing, but just didn't have nothing. I had the bottom was really good, and I know I got inside of him one time in the next corner. I made a mistake and got in the slick, and then he was able to get back by me on the outside. But he ran a good race. Didn't make no mistakes there at the end when I tried to pressure him. Sounds like he ran out of fuel though, so I wish we would have went one more lap. But,
Ain't not enough fuel in that beast, huh?
yeah,
Didn't you do that last night?
I had plenty in it today, so that wasn't an issue for me. But
oh man.
yeah, it's good for Jake. I know he's been finishing second to me quite a bit here in his 305. He's been after me, so it's good to see him finally get a win in it.
Well, I hear that you brought your 360 also. You're going to be racing next, and I also heard that you brought an all-female pit crew this weekend with your 360. So, I mean, how did you get them? How did you get those 3 or 4 ladies to come out and help you? I mean, with being a pit crew, it's always nice to see an all-female pit crew. Are these people, women or friends or how'd you get them?
Yeah, it costs a lot of dollars to be able to have them come along. They get paid in ones, but it pays off in the end. You distract a few drivers and you get something to look at on your own car, so it might work out for you.
Well, congratulations. Good luck. Is there anybody that you'd like to thank, or your sponsors and stuff for tonight? And we'll see you probably in about 10 minutes.
Yeah, I got to thank Silver King Fast Sim Sports, Design, Metal Art, Jessup Logistics, Pushing the Cushion Productions, Speed World Hobbies, Works Graphics, everybody that helps put this on, and Mr. Billy Idol yourself for doing the broadcast tonight.
Well, thank you, and a lot of the race fans. Billy Brickley, the Buckshot, is behind the scenes with UDSS a lot, and he puts a lot of his time in. And thank you. Go get your car. I'm sure the ladies got the car out of the trailer. They're polishing it and buffing it with all their buffers, and we'll probably see you in about 15 minutes.
All right, Billy, we'll see you.
Thank you, buddy. All right, we're gonna get down. We're gonna go to our winner. I think we're getting him some luck. Jake Greenwood. Jake, you got the mic?
Yes, I do. How's
What
it going?
is happening, brother? You're on a roll. Hey, what kind of pressure did you really feel with the buckshot behind you? I know you raced with them, but did you feel any pressure, or were you calm as a cucumber?
Oh, I was about as pressured as it can be, really. This is his track, and this isn't really his car, but I mean, it's a car. 410s is his deal, obviously, as you could see last night. He's pretty damn good at those, running with some of the best guys there is to do it here on iRacing. And I don't know. That was a crazy race. I need to probably turn off my spotter there because there's a couple times I was going around and it'd say, "Oh, hold on, you're on the bottom 3 wide," and I'm going, "Holy shit, what is going on here?" Yeah, it was crazy there. I was bouncing off of Darren there, and I saw Billy and Darren getting into it. Oh, that had to be as good as a race to watch for you guys as it was for me. They're swapping third and fourth there for a while.
Well, I know the viewers are probably going, Billy Idol, man, this guy is out of control. I mean, I was talked, I think, every lap, every second. It was so exciting, and it was exciting to see you because, again, you know me, I've had your back since the first race, and you're starting to shine and look exactly what I have told the race fans and the viewers all year, that you were going to move up. You're doing a good job. You started getting on the bottom. You started watching. I think you watched a little bit, a couple moves that Billy did. You started sweeping up in the corner. You started doing a little slider, and then when it came down to the end, I noticed that you started staying low and pinching off the corner, not to give him that room. Is that was your plan? Is not give him the inside?
Yeah, a little bit there, and I knew it was gonna be easier to stick it down there once we burned off a little bit of fuel. And speaking of fuel, man, Darren nailed it. When we were always come to that point of the night, kind of right before warm-ups there, where we all are sitting here. The most wanted guys are kind of like, well, what's the final verdict here? What are we running exactly for fuel? And Darren threw out a number, and we all went with it. And man, we couldn't even line up right after the race there because Darren and I were both out of fuel. So yeah, he definitely nailed it. But as soon as we burned off a little bit of that fuel, it was a little easier to stick it down there. I noticed Brickley started doing it a little bit, sticking it down there, and I was like, oh, that means it's time. So
Well, could you have gone another lap or no?
um, no, I don't think so. Because really, after that checkered came around the middle of 3 and 4, there is where I lost it. So yeah, absolutely nailed.
Well, this is definitely going to help you in the points. I don't believe, if I'm in my fresh in my mind, you didn't race the USA International, did you? Last week?
I don't
No.
think so
Yeah, I
for
don't think so.
305.
But I know that you're like fourth place in points. This is going to move you up. This is going to give you your first win of the year in the 305 Gold. So how exciting is that? Um, what a terrific job that you did. I mean, especially to keep the buckshot behind you. He had a bounty on his head last night. Tyler Shell won the bounty. Buckshot had to save gas with 3 laps to go. No excuse. He got beat for 20 bucks. But for you to win tonight too, it has to be one of the top wins in the 305s for you. Actually, it's your first win of the year for 305, but it still has to be a great win to beat the buckshot. But who would you like to thank, and any of your sponsors also?
Definitely Works Graphics. They gave me an awesome 360 and 410. Not so much of a 305. That was actually Darren Detweiler put that one together. And definitely Design Metal Art. Um, Most Wanted guys. It's always fun racing with them, and they're always a great help. Bounce things off their head, and always nice seeing what comes back to see what we can do to get faster every week. And yeah, that was definitely a fun one. I don't know what it is about the 305s at Knoxville. That was I think the last time I actually beat Billy Brickley was in a grind esports race last season, and it was actually kind of a similar deal with the bounty.
Yeah.
Except I think it was only $5, and he put that up on himself. So that was the last time I think I beat him. So I don't know what it is about me having luck with Brickley on this track, but hopefully it continues.
Well, I think you did a terrific job. You drove a pretty flawless race. My hat's off to you for having that much pressure. And we had a great 5 or 6 cars bumper to bumper throughout the race. There was no yellows, so you probably couldn't have gone another green because there was no yellows. Nobody expected that, even with 15 cars or 16 cars. But you did. Did you bring your 360 here tonight to race in the next race?
Absolutely. Hopefully we can have as good as results as we did here in the 305, but I guess we'll have to.
Well, congratulations. Always nice talking to you. Good luck tonight. I'll probably be on the mic again. Go get your car ready. Go have a little sip of some prune juice or something. Get ready. No alcohol, I'm sure. But congratulations and good night and have a good night.
Awesome. Appreciate it. Hopefully I'm talking to you again here soon.
Me too. Thank you, Jake.
Thanks.
Well, race fans, that's it for the 305 Gold Series here at the historical Knoxville Speedway. I'd like to thank all you viewers for chiming in and watching our race event here at Knoxville with the 305s. Next up is the 360s. They will be here in about probably 10 or 15 minutes. They'll start practicing, so you can jump out of this live stream and jump in Pushing the Cushion 360 Unity Series here in about 15 minutes. I'll have the broadcasting set up. We'll have to change some wires around. Thank you for showing up. All you race fans and viewers, please be safe. Stay home. The coronavirus is nothing to be joking about. We want to see you up in the stands. We want your loved ones to be safe. Thank you for coming. Have a good night, and we'll see you in about 15 minutes.